The standard for project management. Portfolio, a collection of jobs, project, that relate to a specific end goal. Product, an achieved created outcome, tangible that can be analyzed and measured and may or may not offer value. Program, a series of related tasks and ideas along with the company resources and personnel, under one common entity. Project, an undertaking with specified start and end dates, created to reach a clearly established goal. Project management, the act of leading team members to accomplish a project goal by implementing sound techniques and solutions. Project manager, an individual tasked with running a project who is held responsible for its outcomes. Project team, people tasked with accomplishing the goal of a project. This includes the project manager and everybody else involved. System, for value delivery, the plan of action created to produce the most value to the organization and customers. This is projects, my portfolios, and groupings. Outcome, the product or result of an event or action, a consequence. Benefit, a positive addition or gain to an individual or organization. 31 Infrastructure, the personnel, system, potatoes, an organization to accomplish its end goals. 32 External environment, what happened outside of an organization that may or may not have influenced the organization's processes. 33 Marketplace conditions, the state of the market in an area. 34 External regulations, the laws, rules, sportsmen that are placed on our organization from the outside. 35 Industry standards, the established and expected norms within an industry. 36 PMI code of ethics and professional conduct, responsibility, respect. 37 The 12 principles of project management, stewardship, systems thinking, tailoring, adaptability, change, team, stakeholders, value, leadership, complexity, risk. 38 Stewardship, the honest and diligent care of the responsibilities entrusted to an individual that impact the organization or things outside of the organization. 39 Holistic view, an approach that looks at an organization and the surrounding community as a whole, than just looking at the specific details within an organization. 40 Team, a group of people with appropriate and diverse skills that work together to accomplish tasks and projects assigned to them. 41 Team agreements, the rules and procedures that a project team have agreed to prior to start of any tasks. 42 Accountability, the ownership of the outcomes, positive or negative, individual or a group deemed capable and responsible. 43 Responsibility, an obligation that is explicitly assigned to a group or implicitly required of an individual or group. 44 Diverse project team, a team of people with various degrees of knowledge, experience, and skill sets, broader view and understanding of how a process should be handled. 45 Collaborative project team, a team that works together by trading ideas and abilities to create solutions to problems. 46 Engagement, the active participation in a project or process to influence its procedures and outcomes. Effective communication is crucial. 47 Interpersonal skills, natural and developed abilities that define how individuals interact and socially and professionally. You can examples include active listening, charisma, understanding and patience. 48 Value, what something is worth to an individual or organization. This is a subjective term and fluctuates depending on the market used. This can also be found at various points along the project timeline. 49 Business case, the value in commencing a project or deliverable based on the organization's vision and the cost of benefit ratio among other things. This is presented to a governing body within an organization to gain approval and commence a project. 50 Business need, an opportunity for an organization to take advantage of or to be fixed. 51 Project justification, the reason why an organization should solve a problem or take advantage of an opportunity. 52 Business strategy, the outline plan of how an organization will meet a business need in congruence with a business vision. 53 Systems thinking, viewing all of the projects and activities of the business internally and externally and considering historically how they interact and perform together. 54 System, groups and components that function together to accomplish a shared ultimate goal. 55 System of systems, multiple systems that operate within a larger system. 56 Subsystem, a group that contains its own system with its own separate goals but works within a larger system to achieve the same overall goal. 57 Leadership, the ability to effectively influence and guide people to obtain organizational goals. 58 Authority, the power granted to an individual or entity to make decisions and provide direction. 59 Quality, the degree to which a product or service meets expected performance characteristics. 60 Garvin, 8 dimensions of quality performance features reliability, conformance, durability, serviceability, aesthetics, and perceived quality. 61 Ambiguity, lack of clarity on what to do because there are multiple possible correct options. 62 System behavior, the influence individual projects and processes have on one another within a system. 63 Risk, a positive or negative potential consequence from an unsettled event or situation. 64 Risk appetite, the amount of risk an organization is willing to take on. 65 Risk threshold, the most risk that an organization is willing to take on. 66 Adaptability, the ability to change whatever is necessary to conform to various alterations while not sacrificing value. 67 Resiliency, the ability to overcome complexities then setbacks quickly and effectively while maintaining value. 68 Change management, the tools, procedures, and strategies that are used to initiate and implement changes within an organization and adapt to unexpected developments. 69 Project performance domain, a set of similarly grouped tasks that operate to accomplish a certain aspect of a project. 70 The 8 Project performance domain, stakeholders, team life cycles, planning, project work, delivery, measurement, uncertainty. Stakeholder performance domain. 1 Stakeholder performance domain, the domain that focuses on the stakeholders involved in a project. 2 Stakeholders, individuals, groups, or organizations who are involved with a process or project but either engaging with it or being affected by it. 3 Stakeholder analysis, the process of collecting data regarding a project. Stakeholders. Stakeholder will influence or be influenced by a project, how it should be grouped and interacted with. 4 Stakeholder engagement, the interaction with various stakeholders throughout a project. 5 Identifying stakeholders. 4 types of stakeholders. High impact, high interest, for example managers or funders. High impact or and low interest, for example CEOs or regional managers. Low impact, high interest customers. Low impact, temple, general public. 6 Understanding stakeholders, learning about the interest, wants of all stakeholders involved in a project. 7 Prioritizing stakeholders based on the influence and interest of each stakeholder. The project team must determine which stakeholders are the most important to consider when project planning. 8 Push communication, information is sent to stakeholders via email, the reports, and any other means of communication when immediate feedback is not necessary. 9 Pull communication, information is placed in the shareable data site such as a website or questionnaire that they can interact with and can send feedback via the project team. 10 Interactive communication, information is exchanged in real time with stakeholders to quickly share and learn necessary details concerning project or product. 11 monitoring stakeholders, the continuous analysis of stakeholders throughout a project. 12 quick feedback loops, a way to receive positive or negative information from various stakeholders quickly in order to improve or continue various aspects of a project, to determine stakeholder feelings about a project and learn other important information. Team performance domain. 1 team performance domain, responsible for monitoring, managing and creating teams tasked with creating the project deliverables. 2 key success measures for project management. Key success measures are established at the start of the project by the project manager and the key stakeholders. 3 project management team, the organization, navigation of task focus activities. 4 management activities, the organization, implementation and delegation of task focused activities. 5 leadership activities, these focus on the guidance and influence of people on the project team. 6 servant leader, an individual who leads by example and prioritizes the needs of the people underneath them. 7 diversion shield, the protection of a project team from the external and internal distractions that are not essential for a specific phase of the project that the team are working on. Number 8, team development. Vision and objectives, the project plan, purpose, timeline, and goal must be clearly defined and easily understood by everyone on the project team. 9 team development. Rules and responsibilities, the position and duties of each team member must be clearly defined and communicated. 10 team development. Project team operations, the day-to-day communication norms and problem-solving protocols must be discussed and agreed upon. 11 team development. Guidance, the leadership should guide the team in the right direction and keep everyone on track. 12 team development. Growth, the leadership should provide helpful constructive criticism and encouragement to team members to improve processes and continue creating the desired outcomes. 13 high performance project team. Open communication, the free distribution of thoughts, ideas for the team without fear of reprisal. 14 high performance project team. Shared understanding, everyone on the team has the same end goals and objectives. 15 high performance project team. Shared ownership, everyone on the team is made to feel as though they have a piece of ownership in the project. 16 high performance project team. Trust and mutual reliance on each other of the team members, especially the management. 17 high performance project team. Collaboration, team members work together to create better processes or exchange new ideas. 18 high performance project team. Empowerment, team members are given the trust and responsibility to make their own decisions based on project guidelines. 19 high performance project team. Recognition. Team members are noticed or rewarded for accomplishing various tasks or meeting certain standards, privately. 20 critical thinking, the unbiased assess of all available facts to make a decision or reach a conclusion. 21 intrinsic motivation, motivation derived from an internal desire to do something, joy, pleasure, or success upon completion. 22 extrinsic motivation, motivation derived from external rewards or threat of consequence, just receiving a trophy or avoiding a fine. 23 interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and interpret one's own emotions and the emotions of others. 24 emotional intelligence, self-awareness, understanding one's own thoughts, biases, abilities, limitations and motives. 25 emotional intelligence, self-management, the ability to control and direct oneself. 26 emotional intelligence, social awareness, the ability to grasp the feelings and norms of other people and interact with them appropriately. 27 emotional intelligence, social skill, learned behaviors and social norms that are utilized to act properly in social settings. 28 unilateral decision making, a decision made by one person without anyone else's input. 29 group-based decision, decision made by a group of people so that different ideas and expertise can be shared. 30 conflict management, the ability to appropriately handle difficult situations, usually between stakeholders, in an efficient and professional way. Development approach and life cycle performance domain. Number 1, development approach and life cycle performance domain, the domain that guides the development approach used for the project and cadence at which the project deliverables are produced. 2 cadence equals the timetable set for the production of deliverables. 3 project phase, a group of events or activities that produces at least one deliverable within a project. 4 project life cycle, the different phases that a project goes through from conception to end results. 5 cadence, single delivery, a project that yields its deliverables one time at the end of a project. 6 cadence, multiple deliveries, a project that yields multiple deliveries throughout its life cycle. 7 cadence, periodic deliveries, a project that yields multiple deliveries throughout its life cycle in accordance with a set schedule. 8 cadence, continuous deliveries, a project that yields multiple small deliveries throughout its life cycle that are immediately given to the customer. 9 degree of innovation, variable, predictive or adaptive approach. 10 certainly a requirements, variables, predictive approach. Requirements are known and understood, adaptive approach, the project requirements are not known or understood. 11 scope, stability, variable, predictive approach. Project is mostly certain and has a small chance of change, adaptive approach. Unknown or susceptible to large changes. 12 ease of change, variable, predictive approach. Changes are difficult to implement. Adaptive approach. Changes are easy to implement. 13 risk, variable, predictive approach. The project has a very high amount of negative risk possibilities and needs stringent planning, adaptive approach. It has a low amount of negative risk, or the risk would be better managed over time depending on other variables. 14 safety and regulation requirements, variable, predictive approach. A high amount of safety, regulator, regulation requirements. Adaptive approach. Projects have a low amount of safety and regulation requirements. 15 project life cycle phases. Start, plan, deploy, maintain, close. 16 sprint equals a short of time in a team accomplishes specific tasks. Planning performance domain. 1 planning performance equals domain responsible for creating an overall plan for the project. Number 2 estimate equals a general idea of how much money, sources, my personnel will be needed in a project. 3 accuracy equals how correct something is, for example in archery how close to a bullseye. 4 precision equals how consistent or exact something is, for example an arrow close to target. 5 crashing equals the use of additional resources to speed up a project deadline. 6 fast tracking equals accelerating project by completing multiple steps at once instead of waiting for the original start and end dates. 7 budget equals the amount of money a project is allotted for completion. 8 the triple bottom line equals people, planet, profit. 9 planning variables equals development approach, deliverables, market conditions, rules and regulations, organizational policies, scope, timetable, stakeholders, budget. 10 product scope, what the product does and is. 11 project scope, how a project operates to deliver a certain product. 12 aspects of estimating equals range, accuracy, precision, confidence. 13 deterministic estimates equals an estimate that provides one amount or a fixed number. 14 probabilistic estimates equals an estimate that provides an array of number possibilities and is determined based upon previous averages or upon a probability that is most likely to occur. 15 absolute estimates, an estimate that gives precise data based on isolated information. 16 relative estimates equals an estimate that gives data based on comparison with other data. 17 flow-based estimates equals an estimate that is based on cycle time it takes for an item to complete a process. Throughput, the specified number of items that can be completed in a specified time. 18 schedule equals the timetable that states when each plan element is expected to be started and accomplished. 19 lead equals beginning a portion of a project before the preceding portion is completed. 20 lag equals delaying a process that is supposed to occur for a later time. 21 finish to start relationship equals when one project process finishes, another process starts as results. 22 finish to finish relationship equals when one project process finishes, just finishes as well. 23 start to start relationship equals a project process must begin for another process to begin. 24 dependencies equals tasks that are connected to each other and influence when other tests start and end. 25 mandatory dependencies equals something must happen for the next process in each project to occur. 26 discretionary dependency equals something can happen that is advisable for a project. 27 external dependency equals something from outside a project must occur for next steps in a project to begin. 28 internal dependency equals something from inside of a project that must occur for the next steps to begin. 29 time box equals a specified amount of time to work on a project. 30 physical resources equals any items such as funds, equipment that are needed to use a project excluding people. 31 procurement equals obtaining the various resources that a team needs for a project. 32 metrics equals measurements that are developed to assess performance and track progress. 33 baseline equals the starting point that metrics and tests use to assess performance. Project work performance domain. One project work performance domain equals the domain responsible for ensuring that the intended work is being accomplished to complete a project and that all necessary resources are available to the project team. 2 bid documents equals information concerning the price and other essential information about a product or service that is needed for a project. 3 bidder conference equals the meeting between project managers and potential vendors to determine which services meet project requirements. 4 explicit knowledge equals knowledge that is easily codified, transferred, and stored. 5 tacit knowledge equals knowledge that it's based on experience, thoughts, and emotions that is challenging to express and distribute. 6 lean production equals the removal of tasks and activities that inhibit or take away from the value of a project. 7 retrospective meetings equals meetings that analyze past situations and their outcomes to better determine current best practices. 8 non-value added work equals work done in a project that does not enhance or secure any additional value. 9 project team focus equals the area or aspect of a project that a team prioritizes. 10 logistics plan equals the details of how things are going to get done, who is doing them, where they're getting done, when they're supposed to be completed. 11 the bid process equals finding vendors, preparing bid documents, holding bidder conferences, and selecting a vendor. 12 source selection equals choosing the most suitable vendor for a project. 13 contracting equals entering business agreement with a vendor for a product or service. 14 supplement equals a list of changes agreed by both parties in the contract. Delivery performance domain equals the domain that deals with providing the value that the stakeholders demand by accomplishing the project goals. 2 requirement equals the stipulation that is needed in order to satisfy stakeholders. 3 work breakdown structure equals a deconstruction of large jobs into smaller jobs that can be more easily grasped and carried out by team members. 4 definition of done equals a final check of a deliverable that confirms whether or not it is ready for stakeholder use. 5 eliciting requirements equals gathering data from stakeholders to help determine a project scope and end goals. 6 scope decomposition equals breaking your project down into more basic levels. 7 scope themes equals breaking a project down based on various related activities. 8 completion of deliverables. Acceptance or completion criteria equals stakeholders criteria that must be met in order for project to be considered complete. 9 completion of deliverables. Technical performance measures equals the listing of all technical specifications of a project delivers to a stakeholders. 10 scope creep equals when a project requirements of a project increase after a project begins. 11 cost of quality COQ equals the price of presenting the customer with a high quality product compared to the cost of failing to present them with high quality product. 12 preventative costs equals the price paid to keep unwanted elements out of a product. 13 appraisal costs equals the price paid to inspect the quality of products and ensure they meet specified requirements. 14 internal failure costs equals the price paid to fix mistakes before they make it to the customer. 15 external failure costs equals the price paid to fix mistakes after they have made it to the customer. 16 cost of change curve equals the longer it takes to discover a defect in product, the more expensive and the defects becomes fix. 17 suboptimal outcomes equals a product that is produced that does not achieve the initial value it was desired. Measurement performance domain. One measurement performance domain equals the domain responsible for checking to be sure that the project is producing correct deliverables at the intended value. 2 dashboard equals a tool that enables a project manager to understand the overarching positions of the project at a glance. 3 the value of measurements equals measurements have a value insofar as they inform and affect decision making. 4 key performance indicators or KPIs equals the major data points that tell the project manager if there are any problems achieving the deliverables and where those problems may be coming from. 5 leading indicators equals a reasonable way to predict changes or trends in the project or product before it has been delivered. 6 lagging indicators equals a way to measure project and product results after they have been delivered. 7 smart metrics. Specific equals the measurements are given clear and detailed components to analyze. 8 smart metrics. Meaningful equals the measurements pertain to project goals that business needs, etc. 9 smart metrics. Achievable equals the measurements can realistically be measured using the resources available. 10 smart metrics. Relevant equals the measurements are useful to a project and add valuable insight for development and implementation. 11 smart metrics. Timely equals the measurements are up to date or anticipatory of future events. 12 deliverable metrics equals information that is gathered to help defects performance levels and capabilities of a deliverable. 13 delivery metrics equals information that is gathered by a project being developed has multiple deliveries throughout the life of the project. 14 work in progress equals any task or activity that has been started on a project until it's completed. 15 lead time equals the amount of time between the inclusion of a request of a process in a project and the final completion. 16 cycle time equals the amount of time it takes to complete a task from start to finish. 17 queen size equals the number of processes waiting to be completed in a project. 18 Little's law equals a theorem that finds the average number of items and their wait times in a queue. The formula is L equals a W. stands for the average number of items in the queue. A stands for the average rate of arrival for each items in the queue. W stands for average wait time per item in the queue. 19 batch size equals the amount of completed work expected in a cycle. 20 story points equals the number of points given to a certain task or bats that indicate the projected time until completion. 21 process efficiency equals a ratio that compares the value added time to the non-value added time. 22 plan versus actual start and finish dates equals the starting finish dates were initially created are compared to the actual starting finish days to gauge how well the project is coming along. 23 plan versus actual effort and duration equals the amount of work and the time it takes to complete these tasks compared to the projected workload and the time thought it to be. 24 schedule variance or SV equals the evaluation of whether or not a schedule was followed or if a change was made to a schedule. 25 schedule performance index or SPI, a formula used to calculate if a project is on schedule. The formula is V equals EV/PV. EV is the earned value or the amount that has been completed. PV is the planned value or the amount that is supposed to be completed by the end of the project. 26 burn rate equals the comparison of the actual cost of the project to the planned cost of a project. 27 cost variance curve, the difference in what is planned to be spent budgeted and what is actually spent. 28 cost performance index, a formula used to figure out the cost efficiency of a project. Determine the difference between the earned value and the cost. The formula is CPI equals EV, AC, where EV equals earned value and AC equals actual cost. 29 benefit cost ratio or BCR equals a formula expressed as a ratio that shows if the cost of a project is greater or less than the value of a project deliverable. 30 benefit delivery comparison equals the comparison of the planned deliverables to the deliverables we are actually produced. 31 return on investment or ROI equals the measurement of how much value has gained compared to how much it cost to gain that value. The formula is ROI % equals value gained divided by cost 100. 32 net promoter score or NPS equals the score given to a stakeholder between -100 kids, how satisfied a customer is with a deliverable as well as how loyal they are to a product or service. 33 mood chart equals a way to organize and visualize the project team members' feelings while working on a project. 34 turnover equals the rate in which team members leave a project team. 35 estimate to complete etc. equals the estimated cost to complete a current project. 36 estimate at completion equals the estimated total cost of all work in a project. 37 variance at completion or VAC equals the estimate at completion subtracted from the budget at completion. 38 to complete performance index or P equals the ratio of the estimate to complete or EAT compared to the remainder of budgeted resources. 39 regression analysis equals an analytical measurement that tries to discover which independent variables affect the dependent variable and how they relate to each other. 40 throughput analysis, an analytical measurement that determines where in an organization or project deliverables are bottlenecked. 41 information radiators, a physical representation of certain data that is placed in a highly visible location for team members and other involved personality to be able to view at a glance. 42 task board, a board that represents a project and status of the project's tasks. 43 burn charts equals a chart that shows the velocity of a project team. 44 velocity equals the amount of work a project team can complete in a specific time. 45 Hawthorne effect equals this is the idea that people change the way they behave when they know they are being observed or change their focus because they know certain aspects of a project are being measured. 46 vanity metric equals a metric that boasts of something great within an organization or project but has no way of actually helping the project improve. 47 demoralization equals the effect of creating goals that are unrealistic and thus unobtainable for the project team members. 48 confirmation bias equals the act of interpreting data based on the outcomes the interpreter wants to see rather than what is actually there. 49 confusing correlation and causation, the act of attributing the changes of one variable to another variable simply because they have some relationship. 50 exception plan equals a plan that has agreed upon usually during the planning domain that will take effect should a threshold be crossed. Uncertainty performance domain. 1 uncertainty performance domain equals the domain tasks with handling the unexpected situation and events that may occur during a project. 2 uncertainty equals the lack of knowledge concerning certain elements, risks or situations that may occur. 3 complexity equals the various circumstances, people, locations, technologies, etc. that can create a difficulty in a project life cycle. 4 volatility equals the likelihood of unexpected change. 5 ways to mitigate uncertainty equals collect more data about the unknown subject, plan for a common potential outcome, bring in various alternatives that can be accepted or discarded, prepare to be adaptable. Prepare to be resilient. 6 conceptual ambiguity equals a lack of clarity due to a way that of words or ideas that are interpreted by different people. 7 situational ambiguity equals the lack of clarity due to a number of potential options to choose from but not knowing which one to choose. 8 progressive elaboration equals the continual addition of new information during a project or process that allows for more depth and detail. 9 experiments equals tests that are conducted to try to establish casual relationships and decrease ambiguity. 10 prototypes equals early models of a plan that are used for testing. 11 decoupling, the act of taking a group of interlinked tasks and separating them so they are easier to understand and complete. 12 simulations equals scenarios that model aspects of a project and help the project team visualize, analyze and predict potential outcomes. 13 reframing equals the act of taking diverse and balanced perspectives from team members to examine a project from different angles. 14 iterative building equals the process of grouping tasks together, completing tasks and unless you results to determine if something needs to change. 15 engagement building equals the process of getting stakeholders involved in the project in order to gain understanding of their needs and promote projects and results. 16 failsafe building equals the process of ensuring that the failure of critical tasks or components is manageable and will not result in total project failure. 17 alternative analysis equals looking at the data surrounding a project and coming up with other ways to reach a goal should the initial idea fail. 18 reserves equals certain resources, funds that are held aside in case of setback occurs. 19 overall project risk equals all forms of risk that may affect a project. 20 threat equals a possible event or action that would negatively impact a project. 21 threat avoidance equals to disable or remove a threat. 22 threat escalation equals to move the responsibility of handling a threat to a higher level in the organization. 23 threat transfer to remove the responsibility of handling a threat to a third party. 24 threat mitigation equals to decrease the damage that a threat has caused, will cause or might cause. 25 threat acceptance equals to recognize that a threat exists without taking further action to avoid or mitigate it. 26 opportunity, an event or situation that can help or promote a project. 27 opportunity exploitation equals to actively take advantage of a positively impacting situation or event that can directly influence the current project. 28 opportunity escalation equals to move the handling of an opportunity to higher level in the organization. 29 opportunity sharing equals to give the responsibility of making an opportunity to a third party that can best use the situation. 30 opportunity acceptance equals to recognize that an opportunity exists without taking further action towards it. 31 economic view of work prioritization equals completing the task with the highest value in the shortest lead time. Tailoring. 1. Tailoring equals the process of taking all available information about a business need and intentionally shaping teams, projects, policies, procedures to successfully meet that need. 2. Tailoring. Adding equals including additional resources, personnel, materials etc. to project to better fit the project goals. 3. Tailoring. Modifying equals changing the current plans, resources etc. of a project as new information is discovered. 4. Tailoring. Removing equals getting rid of a project obstacles or hindrances that decrease the project's value. 5. Tailoring. Blending equals mixing different elements of a project together to give a well-rounded perspective or increase value in another way. 6. Tailoring. Aligning equals getting all the various elements of a project on the same page and guided toward the same goal for consistency. 7. Tailoring. People equals selecting appropriate people for each project. 8. Tailoring for empowerment equals choosing what tasks responsibilities each team member should have to suit their abilities and enable them to accomplish their specific goals for a project. 9. Tailoring for integration equals deciding what third-party group the technology and other useful resources might be utilized to aid a project team in accomplishing their goals. 10. Project tools. The software or other equipment project needs to accomplish its goals. 11. Project tailoring steps equals Step 1. Select the development approach based on the project goals. Step 2. Conform the approach to the organization. Step 3. Conform the approach to the specifics of the project. Step 4. And last the project to make changes throughout the project life. 12. Development approach selection equals choosing an adaptive or hybrid approach based on project needs and requirements. 13. Tailoring for the organization equals adapting the planning and implementation of a project to the organization's specific guidelines, policies and procedures. 14. Tailoring for the project considering each variable that impacts and is impacted by a project and molding the project to conform those things. 15. Compliance equals the level to which a project conforms to the rules and regulations set forth by governing body. 16. Criticality equals the degree to which a process or deliverable is essential to a project. 17. Tailoring variables based on the deliverable equals type of product, current or potential technologies, type of market, time to complete, stability, security, delivery time frame. 18. Tailoring based on the culture of the organization equals stakeholder buy-in, rapport, empowerment, organizational structure. 19. Tailoring based on performance domains, stakeholders, language, number networks, demands, culture, location. 20. Tailoring based on performance domains, planning equals potential internal and external variables, timeline, organization policies, laws and regulations, deliverable schedule. 21. Tailoring based on the performance domains, project work equals best management processes, collaboration, reporting and record keeping, task delegation. 22. Tailoring based on performance domains, delivery equals organizational requirements, government regulations, stakeholders, stability, sustainability. 23. Tailoring based on performance domains, project team equals location, diversity, availability, rules and responsibilities, resource allocation. 24. Tailoring based on performance domains, uncertainty equals risk appetites, tolerance, and limits. Threat identification and handling, opportunity identification and handling, budget thresholds. 25. Tailoring based on performance domains, measurement equals value, analysis, performance. 26. Diagnostics equals checking on a project systems throughout the project lifecycle from beginning to end. Acceptance criteria. 1. Acceptance criteria equals the elements that must be presented for deliverable to be accepted. 2. Activity list equals the document that details the current activities that are being worked on, what specifically is being worked on and who is working on it. 3. Agile equals continuing small additions to a project over its life cycle to increase deliverable value. 4. Basis of estimates equals a document that explains what methods are used to determine estimates. 4. They are to be accurate, and other important information. 5. Cost plus award fee contract CPA equals a contract that pays a vendor for all resources used for a project plus a reward fee for that work was completely used, usually based on the seller's profit. 6. Cost plus fixed fee contract CPFF equals a contract that pays the vendor for the actual cost incurred for the project work plus a fee that has been reestablished in the contract. 7. Cost plus fee contract CPI equals a contract that pays a vendor for actual cost incurred on a project plus a fee based on the product's performance. 8. Critical path, the longest sequence of tasks that has to be accomplished in order for project not to be negatively impacted. 9. Cumulative flow diagram CFD equals a graphical representation of the current and completed processes and tasks within a project. 10. DevOps equals a combination of development operation elements of a project. 11. Enterprise environmental factors EF equals external conditions that are not controlled by the organization affect the project. 12. Epic equals a large high level decomposed into smaller task sets. 13. Executing process group equals a group of projects tasked with ensuring that the project is progressing appropriately, communication between teams and systems is effective, monitoring the schedule for the project. 14. Grade equals a way to gauge products that are the same in function but not the same in quality. 15. Kanban board equals a quick reference sheet that contains information about project workflows and other valuable data points. 16. Last responsible moment equals a delay of important decision as long as possible until any further delay would come to costly. 17. Lean startup canvas equals a one-page plan that shows key components and personnel in a project. 18. Minimum viable product MVP equals a very limited version of a product that is just enough value for a customer to use it. 19. Monte Carlo simulation equals a risk analysis simulation that takes the worst case scenarios and the best case scenarios on a product completion and then gives an array of possible times it would take to complete the project based on probabilities. 20. Network path equals a series of tasks that are connected logically in a project schedule. 21. Organizational process assets OPA equals all of the useful documents, procedures and other bodies of knowledge are available in an organization. 22. Osmotic communication equals receiving information and directly by picking up on verbal cues and background conversations. 23. Register equals a record of anything that might impact or is currently impacting a project. 24. Regulations equals requirements for organizational enforced by an authoritative source. 25. Release equals a group of products or parts of products that are ready to be sent out together. 26 rework equals taking a product and fixing issues that have been discovered to meet correct specifications. 27 role equals a specific function of a team member within a project. 28 rolling wave planning equals a form of project planning that focuses on the task that will be carried out in the near future while the distant future tasks are only partially planned out. 29 swarm equals a method that involves the entire project team focusing on a high priority task until it is completed. 30 template equals a pre-made placeholders or text that makes it easier for project managers to create forms or disperse information in a consistent and timely manner. 31 validation equals a process that documents a deliverable means the specifications and value standards that were intended. 32 value delivery office VDO equals a management system that focuses on training personnel, helping foster agile functions, and helping with stakeholder engagements. 33 voice of the customer equals the perspective and input of the customer concerning a product or service. 34 waste equals activities that do not help additional value to a product but take away from a project's resources. 35 work package equals the smallest group of related tasks within a project. Model. 1 model equals a framework heuristic for thinking about a project. 2 situational leadership models equals leadership methods that adjust according to needs of a project and members of a project team. 3 Ken Blanchard situational leadership 2 equals a model that categorizes and please based on their level of competence offers leadership strategies for each group. First group D1S1 equals beginner needs directing. D2S2 learner needs coaching. D3S3 contributor needs support. D4S4 achiever needs delegation. 4 Oscar model equals a coach and model designed to support employees and better prepare them for their desired goals. 5 Oscar model. Outcome equals the end goal that the individual expects from a coaching session. 6 Oscar model. Situation equals the current level of ability, experience and education that the individual being coached possesses. 7 Oscar model. Choices equals the decisions that the individual can make to achieve their end goal and the consequences of each approach. 8 Oscar model. Action equals the specific choices that the individual decides to take within a set time frame. 9 Oscar model. Review equals frequent planned sessions where the individual meets with their coach to examine progress. 10 Communication models equals methods for giving and receiving information. 11 Cross-cultural communication equals communication between members of different cultures. 12 Richness and communication equals the depth and speed of information that can be exchanged to giving medium. 13 Gulf of execution equals the difference between what a person wants a product to do what they think it can do and what it actually does. 14 Motivational models equals models of management that focus on ways that individuals are motivated. 15 Motivational factors equals the aspects of work that increase job satisfaction if well done but to not cause dissatisfaction if absence. 16 Hygiene factors equals the aspects of work that cause dissatisfaction if done poorly but do not increase satisfaction or motivation if done well. 17 Intrinsic motivator. Autonomy equals motivated by the ability to be in control of one's tasks and jobs. 18 Intrinsic motivator. Motivated by the desire to do excellent work and continue to improve. 19 Intrinsic motivator. Purpose equals motivated by the desire to make a difference and impact the surrounding world. 20 Needs theory. Achievement equals people are motivated to accomplish tasks and outcome obstacles. 21 Needs theory. Power equals people are motivated by the opportunity to lead and manage others. 22 Needs theory. People are motivated by being included with others and not left out. 23 Theory X model. Employers are believed to be solely motivated to work for income, otherwise they do not like to work or want to be there. 24 Theory Y model. Employees are believed to be intrinsically motivated to work hard. 25 Theory Z model. Employees are believed to be motivated by self-realization. 26 Managing change in organizations. Formulate change equals the action of teaching team members by why change is necessary and how it will be better once change is implemented. 27 Managing change in organizations. Plan change equals the action of prepping team members for a change rather than changing things suddenly. 28 Managing change in organizations. Implement change action beginning maintaining and continuing to implement the necessary revisions to make a change successful. 29 Managing change in organizations. Manage transition equals the action of handling needs and concerns that emerge after the challenge have been initiated. 30 Managing change in organizations. Sustaining change equals the action of completely eliminating the undesirable activities and maintaining new procedures that replace the old ones. 31 ADKAR model. Awareness equals explain why change is needed. 32 ADKAR model. Desire equals wanting the change to be made and wanting to participate in it. 33 ADKAR model. Knowledge equals comprehending how to change is to place and what needs to be done. 34 ADKAR model. Ability equals equipment team members with what they need to successfully implement the required changes. 35 ADKAR model. Reinforcement equals encouraging and strengthening the new challenges that have been made. 36 Leading change. Urgency equals acknowledge and expose the necessity for the change and what will happen if the change are not made. 37 Leading change. Coalition creation equals select leaders that impact the team and would help implement the change. 38 Leading change. Vision creation equals create a vision statement that encapsulates the reason for the change and what value it would add to the team or project. 39 Leading change. Vision communication equals let the team members know what the reason for the change and what kind of impact it will have on them, the team and the project. 40 Leading change. Barrier removal equals remove whatever helps keep a necessary change from happening. 41 Leading change. Find to capitalize on small victories to boost morale and create a snowball effect. 42 Leading change. Continual acceleration, keep improving and adding goals to move change along. 43 Leading change. Establish change permanently equals embed you change an organization's culture. 44 Virginia Satir change model equals a model that focuses on emotions and experiences of individuals going through change and identify strategies they can use to cope. 45 Virginia Satire. Late status quo equals the feeling of business as usual before a major change. 46 Virginia Satir. Resistance equals initial opposition to change by way of refusal to change or drop in efficiency. 47 Virginia Satir. Chaos equals a time characterized by uncertainty that often causes people to feel stress, anxiety or some negative emotion. 48 Virginia Cedar. Transformation equals an idea settles with the team members that helps them conceptualize the change. 49 Virginia Satir. Integration equals team members now begin applying the change and work predictably increases. 50 Virginia Cedar. New status quo equals the change becomes normal and the work environment has stabilized. 51 Tuckman Ladder. Forming equals an initial meeting of team members where they get to know those who will be working on the project. 52 Tuckman Ladder. Storming equals the process of working out differences, determining rules for the project and working out strength and weakness for each team member. 53 Tuckman Ladder. Norming equals the team members develop a rhythm together and know their places on a project team. 54 Tuckman Ladder. Performing equals the team members are fully operational and begin to successfully accomplish project goals. 55 Tuckman ladder. Adjourning equals the team members accomplish the project goals and end the current team relationship. 56 Drexler Sibit team performance model. Orientation equals answers the question of why team is being assembled and what they're doing. 57 Drexler Sibit performance model. Trust building equals answers the question if he was on a team, what each team member brings to the table and who are the important stakeholders. 58 Drexler Sibit performance model. Goal clarification equals answers the question of what team will be expected to do and what its goals are. 59 Drexler Sibit performance model. Commitment equals answers the question of how the team will accomplish the project goal and what the plan is for implementation are. 60 Drexler Sibit performance model. Implementation equals the team begins to work on a project and breaks down the tasks. 61 Drexler Sibit performance model. High performance equals a team begins to work well together and accomplish tasks. 62 Drexler Sibit performance model. Renewal equals the team works through changes as they come and either maintains the same process and procedures or results back to a previous step to rebuild. 63 Conflict model. Confronting the problem equals the issue between team members or between team members and a process, problem that needs to be solved. 64 Conflict model. Collaborating equals different viewpoints or side concerning the conflict. 65 Conflict model. Compromising equals when there is no way to satisfy everyone involved with the conflict, decided upon that can resolve issues to a degree that both parties can accept. 66 Conflict model. Smoothing and accommodating equals when accomplishing the project goal takes precedence over conflict at hand. 67 Conflict model. Forcing equals when a solution is unilaterally given by a more powerful party and overrides any other parties involved. 68 Conflict model. Withdrawal and avoiding equals walking away from conflict to either allow it space to resolve on its own or be take time calming down if the conflict became heated. 69 Negotiation equals a conversation seeking to resolve an issue or obtain a favorable outcome. 70 Win-win negotiation equals the negotiations and when all parties involved reach a mutually beneficial solution to their problem. 71 Win-lose negotiation equals the negotiations and when one party attains their desired outcome and the other party walks away to dissatisfied with the solution. 72 Lose-lose negotiation equals the negotiations and with no party benefiting but rather being harmed by the negotiations. 73 Essentials to a win-win negotiation equals character trust approach. 74 The sweet spot equals the optimal conditions for a project or project team to perform at their collective best. 75 Process groups equals groups of related processes within a project. 76 Process groups. Initiating equals the process involved with beginning a new project or project phase including identification of stakeholders and authorization. 77 Process groups. Planning equals the process that establish a project school scope schedule and implementation. 78 Process groups. Executing equals the process that implement the plan for the project. 79 Process groups. Monitoring and controlling equals the process that collect and analyze performance data and manage the procedures being executed. 80 Process groups. Closing equals the process of ending a project or project phase including formal closing meetings after action reviews and celebrations or recognitions. 81 Salience model equals a model based on influence relationship and claim a stakeholder may have a project. 82 Method equals a process used to accomplish a goal. 83 Data gathering and analysis methods equals used to collect information and study fields relating to a project. 84 Assumption constraint analysis equals analysis checks to see how assumptions and constraints are used in a project plan. 85 Benchmarking the process that compares a project's progress goals and achievements to other similar projects. 86 Business justification analysis equals analysis that seeks to explain why a project or decision made within a project would be beneficial. 87 Payback period equals the amount of time it would take to make back what was invested into a project. 88 Internal rate of return or equals the rate of investment will gain money while taking account the startup and continual cost of the project's the year formula. Net Castle during investment cost, time.s. 89 Net present value or NPV equals the future value of an investment in today's dollars. This accounts for inflation. 90 Cost benefit analysis a comparison between what a project costs and what benefits of our project are. 91 Check sheet equals a data sheet used to collect information and mark what has been checked with a tally. 92 Cost of quality equals what a project costs to produce a good outcome that aligns with planned value and goals of a project. 93 Decision tree analysis equals an analysis that graphs out multiple possible options and their potential consequences. 94 Earned value analysis equals analysis that compares the predetermined amount of resources that were to be spent with what has been spent so far to see if the schedule cost and work is completed following the plan. 95 Expected monetary value or EMV and analysis that estimates how much a potential scenario could cost. 96 Forecast equals an educated estimate based on current data regarding the project predicts potential costs event scenarios of the future. 97 Influence diagram equals a way to graphically display how different variables affect each other. 98 Life cycle assessment equals an assessment that analyzes every stage of a project from conception and startup costs to the final deliverable and how these elements impact each other and the stakeholders. 99 Make or buy analysis equals analysis that compares the cost time and requirements for a third-party man project versus the cost time requirements to make those products in-house. 100 Probability and impact matrix the grid that displays the possibilities of a risk along the impact that the risk could have actually occur. 101 Process analysis equals analysis that observes steps in process. 102 Regression analysis a statistical tool that used to compare the effects of the independent variables on dependent variable in its final output. A common example is a linear regression, closely fits a given data set. 103 Reserve analysis equals analysis that looks at what possible risks are for a project and how much reserve resources are available. 104 Root cause analysis that is used to find what initially caused an unexpected events. 105 Sensitivity analysis discovers how risk will influence the output of a project and to what degree. 106 SWOT analysis that looks at 4 things considering a project and various component strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. 107 Trend analysis that gauges future possibilities based on calculated past results. 108 Value stream mapping equals a lean tool that displays all the steps in a project from conception to the point where the deliverable reaches the customer. 109 Variance analysis that determines the difference between what a project is actually doing or company versus what is initially planned. 110 What if scenario analysis equals analysis that figures out what would hypothetically happen if certain occurrences came about in order to prevent those things from happening to preserve them further. 111 affinity grouping equals grouping items based on their similarities. 112 analogous estimating equals taking similar project costs and durations to estimate current project's cost and potential duration. 113 function point a measurement of an information system based on how functional it is. 114 multi-point estimate a form of estimating based on the most likely worst case and best case scenario when there's a lot of uncertainty. 115 parametric estimating equals estimates are created based on historical data and are given parameter to operate when more narrow estimates are not possible and not as helpful. 116 relative estimating equals estimates that are taken from comparing similar projects together and coming up with a loose figure. 117 single point estimating equals an estimate that does not look at multiple possible estimates but instead looks at a single point to base its estimation on. 118 story point estimating equals an estimation point that is based on how much work, time and other resources will take to complete a project. 119 wideband Delphi equals an estimation technique that requires individuals to meet for multiple rounds of discussions focusing on what they estimate certain elements of the project to be. 120 backlog refinement meeting equals an meeting that tries to work through projects for tasks that have been placed on hold due to reprioritization. 121 change control board meeting equals the meeting between individuals responsible for implementing changes to a project or project team. 122 iteration planning meeting equals a meeting where team members discuss how much backlog work they can accomplish in the next iteration. 123 kickoff meeting equals a meeting conducted before the start of a project to set the requirements, goals, expectations and other crucial information to begin the project as smoothly as possible. 124 lessons learned meeting and meeting conducted after an event or project to share valuable information to the team members based on what happened during the specified time. 125 planning meeting equals a meeting that seeks to create, establish or alter the plans for project and finalize those plans. 126 project closeout meeting equals the meeting held after a deliverable has been released to gain understanding from the client, sponsors and other key individuals as to whether or not the deliverable means expectations and what they can do to improve it. 127 project review meeting equals a meeting conducted to discuss the project or event and determine if the value created was in line with the goal of the given project and what to do now that the deliverable was given. 128 release planning meeting equals a meeting that determines the details about releasing a major element of a plan. 129 risk review meeting equals a meeting that discusses current and potential effects of a risk of whether or not a project team is equipped to handle risk or is able to continue with the project as planned. 130 status meeting and meeting that is conducted frequently to gauge the status of a project and make it necessary changes if the things are not going according to plan. 131 steering committee meeting equals a meeting conducted by and for primary stakeholders that have power to make decisions and direct future of the project. 132 impact mapping equals a graphical representation that details what will be added to a project and how those additions will help achieve an end goal. 133 modeling equals creating a similar version of a project to be able to analyze any problems that may be seen before creating a real project. 134 prioritization schema equals a method that analyzes which components of a project are most essential and focuses remaining resources on completing those tasks first. 135 artifacts equals documents that show a project's deliverable, templates, models or anything else relation to the products. 136 business model canvas, a one-page set of somebody the cuss words, value proposition, channels, revenue, key resources, key activities and key partners. 137 project brief, a summary of main components of a project. 138 project charter, a document that grants an organization permission to conduct a project and outlines to the project managers are and what authority they have. 139 roadmap equals a document that shows major events, milestones, levels of completion, etc. that are all set for projects to follow. 140 assumption log equals a record of assumptions and constraints of a project. 141 backlog equals a document showing the tasks that still need to be done. 142 change log equals a record of all changes that made during a project. 143 issue log equals a record of all current issues concerning project. 144 lessons learned register equals a record of what was learned during a project or during a specific portion of a project. 145 risk adjusted backlog, a record of actions and tasks that have been completed to anticipate and manage tasks. 146 risk register, a record of all risks in a project. 147 stakeholder register, the record of all stakeholders on a project along with their role, rank, participation in a project. 148 change control plan equals and plan that classifies who will be responsible for implementing changes, any limits to changes and how changes should be conducted. 149 communications management plan equals the plan that details who will be in charge of the information concerning a project, how it would be spread, when and where it will be sent. 150 cost management plan, the plan that details who controls the finances of a project and how they will be managed and monitored. 151 iteration plan equals a plan for the time that is currently being worked on. 152 procurement management plan and plan that establishes who will be in charge of getting resources for a project, what those resources are and who they will get to them from. 153 project management plan, a plan that details how a project will be conducted, who will be in charge and what the angle is to close the project. 154 quality management plan equals that details how a quality product or deliverable produced. 155 release plan equals the plan that states the date of release and it's the expected value at release and any other information concerning a deliverables release. 156 requirements management plan, a plan that describes how requirements will be handled in a project. 157 resource management plan equals a plan about how resources will be used, acquired, distributed and monitored. 158 risk management plan equals the plan for how to handle risk and who will be in charge of the risks. 159 scope management plan equals the plan that explains what the scope of a project is and how it will be handled, adjusted and created. 160 schedule management plan, a plan for how to handle the schedule. 161 test plan equals a plan that details how products will be tested, what they'll be tested on and which methods will be used for testing. 162 hierarchy charts equals organizational breakdown, product breakdown, resource breakdown, risk breakdown, work breakdown. 163 visual data and information artifacts equals data that is formatted using visual elements such as pictures, graphs and charts. 164 affinity diagrams equals a diagram that displays groups of similar items, processes or ideas that can be easily read and understood. 165 burn down chart equals it's hard that shows how how much work is left until the project completion. 166 burn up chart equals a chart that shows how much work has been done on a project. 167 cause and effect diagram equals diagram that illustrates what caused something to happen and how that event affected the project. 168 cycle time chart equals a chart that shows how long each process took to complete. 169 flowchart equals a chart that shows what went into a process, what process did, and what the process produced. 170 Gantt chart equals a bar chart that shows when and how long a task is worked on. 171 histogram equals a chart that displays multiple groupings of data points concerning a variable at different points in time. 172 lead time chart equals a chart that shows the average amount of lead time between completed projects. 173 prioritization matrix, a diagram broken up into 4 sections that displays the priorities of various tasks. 174 project schedule network diagram equals a chart that shows how tasks relate to each other. 175 requirements traceability matrix equals requirements traceability matrix. 176 responsibility assignment matrix or RAM equals the chart known as a racing chart that displays who the stakeholders are and what each are responsible for and how they impact the project. 177 scatter diagram, a chart that shows how 2 items relate to each other. 178 south curve equals a chart that shows how each time and cost relate. 179 stakeholder engagement matrix, and matrix that shows how current stakeholders and those wanted for a project interact with. 180 story map equals a chart that shows how an overview of where a deliverable started and what happened to create it and where it's going. 181 thorough put chart, the chart that shows when deliverables were completed. 182 use case, an artifact that details how someone would utilize a system and what system is intended to do. 183 velocity chart equals a chart that shows the rate in which products are created and delivered to appropriate test holders. 184 report summary of a project, an aspect of project that states how things are going. These reports include quality, risk, budget, stakeholders, and deliverables reports. 185 fixed price contracts equals the contract the state surprise that we paid for goods or services does not depend on time or resources that are needed to produce or agreed upon deliverables. 186 Cox reimbursable contracts, a contracts where purchaser agrees to pay a contractor fee for a service for all materials needed for a project. 187 time and materials contract, the contract that pays a contractor for whatever materials are needed and whatever labor is needed to complete a project without setting a time limit. 188 indefinite delivery quantity audit contracted to find the minimum maximum amount of goods or times requested but does not give specifics or time limits as to how long the project should take and